Hey guys, so now I want to do a video on AI. I just watched, let's see here, I just watched Sam Harris's TED Talk on AI, and it's a good talk. I do have I do have one kind of problem with it, which is where he lists the dangers of AI, and I think they're real, and I think we definitely need to be talking about them. But him and every other intellectual out there, these smart people, they just keep on listing the problems and then they just go, well, I don't have any way to solve it. Yeah, that's not going to work. So I came up with some ideas. And keep in mind, they're completely non-technical. They're just general ideas. I have no idea if they would technically work or not. However, someone needs to start coming up with ideas as to how we're going to prevent, the AI overlords from taking over. So, just off the top of my head here, a few. One is, some people say that general AI is really the problem. AI that develops general intelligence, that can understand anything or that will have ability to manipulate like anything. Well, so one solution there is you can just keep AI narrow. Find a way to program it in that AI always stays narrow and in its scope. Like, we only have robots or computers that can just do one thing. They can't do everything. So that would be one possibility. Another is maybe there could be a way to program AI in a language that it doesn't have access to. So it can't program itself in that language, and that would be like the master language. And so it can program itself in other languages, but at the fundamental layer, we can reprogram it, and it can't reprogram the fundamental layer. I think that's another possibility. Okay, and this is kind of similar, but another idea would be, one of the dangers is we're talking about AI that has the ability to reprogram itself. And with it doing, let's say, 1 million calculations per second, it can start reprogramming itself so fast that it just gets out of hand within minutes or hours or days, to where we don't even know what it is anymore. It's completely reprogrammed itself. Okay, for that, maybe there's a way where we can eliminate AI's ability to reprogram its purpose, where it does not have access to do that, where it is only allowed to increase its efficiency, and its effectiveness in doing its tasks. But its tasks are governed by a purpose which it cannot reprogram. It just doesn't have access to that, that layer or whatever. Or to that, language or whatever it's used to create that. So I do think that Sam Harris made a good point about how basically, all human beings, like 99% of human beings in the world today, have an inappropriate, emotional response to AI. Just don't really understand the threat, and he's arguing that it's because a sci-fi apocalyptic scenario is fun to think about, and in a way that famine is not. Global famine is sad, but being taken over by AI is fun to think about. I actually think there's another aspect to why we can't develop an appropriate emotional response to it, and that's that we're living in a world today where we're constantly being told it's the end of the world, and just we're over it. Nobody cares anymore. We were all supposed to die to the nuclear threat. I mean, whatever that was, 70 years ago or something, and we're all going to just get blown up, the whole world's going to be radiated. Maybe there'd be a few survivors, but in the last 7 years, that didn't happen. We're all supposed to die to terrorist threats, Al Qaeda, global warming is going to turn the whole planet into a desert. I mean, there's just always end of the world talk now, and it just never happens. So I think it's the boy who cried wolf, phenomenon now. Like, nobody believes it anymore. Just nobody believes these end of the world scenarios because people keep coming up with new ones and they just never happen. And I think that's why we have that response now. I don't know this for a fact, but I think probably when nuclear weapons first came out, people were much more scared of it. During Cold War times, people were much more scared of nuclear threat. But I mean, you can't be scared for 70 years. Eventually, you're just like, man, whatever. So that's where we're at now. Okay, another point I want to talk about is there's no doubt that AI is going to be like way, way smarter than human beings. I don't think that's debatable. Certainly in terms of just brute force calculation, just, a million calculations per second versus your brain thinking, what, a thought a second or something, if that. So, however, I think it's a really exceptional claim to start thinking that computers will develop a will of their own. And I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I think it's an exceptional claim that has to be backed up with, a lot of evidence. And I think we're sort of anthropomorphizing computer intelligence.